Thanks for joining me today. Every week, I sit down with a business owner or author and we talk about how they do it all, how they find that balance of work, family, downtime, and growing their businesses. We also talk about the fun things in life like vacations and our favorite foods. I know some of you are on the treadmill or driving to work or doing the dishes and listening. Whatever you're doing and wherever you are, thanks so much for spending this time with me. I would also love it if you would connect with me on Instagram, Twitter, or Facebook at corinesandifer. Of course, my favorite of all is Instagram. I just love the pictures. It's such a great eye candy for me. I post some family fun stuff, and every now and then I will do a selfie. So check it out and go follow me on Instagram. My guest today is Lora Jacobson of Lora's Weighted Blankets. She is a business owner, a mom, and a researcher. She took the time to find out why her blankets were such a big hit. She also shares a bit about the tragic accident that took the life of her son, Sawyer, and how she ended up reaping the benefits of using her own blankets. Lora also shares with us some of her best business practices, which I absolutely love hearing all about what she does and how she runs her business. But also stay tuned after the interview to hear about the freebies that Lora is offering our listeners. Here's my conversation with Lora Jacobson. I noticed that you have a business selling Lora's Weighted Blankets. And so I was very intrigued and I looked it up and was very interested in your blankets. And I thought, gosh, she's running this business. So you're running this business of selling weighted blankets, right?
Yes.
Tell me more about that.
Okay, well, a lot of people ask like what weighted blankets are, and I mean, besides the fact that they have plastic pellets or glass beads inside to make it heavier, it's a lot like the old heavy quilts our great grandmothers used to have, and a lot of people find them calming and comforting. Most of my customers are looking to sleep better. There's a lot of reasons a person can use a weighted blanket. Customers, that's what they'll tell me. And, oh, I can finally sleep at night.
Wow. So like they are, but the beads and stuff the things do not move around. It's like, it's like makes it heavy. It just makes it
it makes
weighted.
it heavy. There's little pockets. If you would imagine like a whole bunch of bean bags sewn together, it's kind of like that.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
That sounds really neat and so how did you find this niche in this business of yours that you have started? How did you fall into this?
Okay, well, it started maybe 5 years ago. A friend, she had moved to Peru and they needed a weighted blanket for her son. And but she didn't like a machine, she didn't have access to the things she would need to make it. And so I offered to go and make it. She said there was a place I could send it in the US to get it to her so we didn't have to worry about international shipping. And so I did. Another friend had some instructions on how to make one. That was the first time I did it. And then, over the next year or two, there were a couple other friends here and there. And then they started telling me, Lora, you really need to start selling these. People would pay you to make them.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I guess it was December of 2012. I finally was like, oh, sure, I'll try this, whatever. I opened an Etsy shop. And that's kind of how it got started.
Wow. That's really cool because you were doing them for your friends and then you at one point you finally, I was reading this on your website, you finally tried one yourself.
Yeah. Shortly after I opened my Etsy shop, I was in a car accident. And my oldest son, Sawyer, at the time, he died instantly in that car accident.
Oh, wow.
So the next several months were, well, I mean, it's it's always hard, right?
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
those early that months are especially difficult. Um, and I still wasn't thinking in terms of using the blankets myself, but I guess it was the summer after, so it would have been summer of 2013. An occupational therapist had asked me to make a very large and very heavy blanket.
Mm-hmm.
She was going to use it in her office to lend to her patients. And I was packing it up, get all folded, and was getting ready to put it in the box. And I don't know, I just sat down and on the couch and put the whole blanket all folded up right on my chest,
Mm-hmm.
which isn't normally how you'd use a weighted blanket, but still, that's how where I was, and I was really surprised um, by the feeling of the grief, like taking a break, and
Wow.
of just being able to relax, a sense of centeredness.
Yeah.
It I still didn't start using one on a regular basis at that point. I don't know. Maybe it's kind of like taking your vitamins, right? I didn't have any trouble
Yeah.
sleeping at night, and so sure, I didn't have to use this all the time. And I'm coming to realize now that, especially in that particular situation, using a weighted blanket would be an act of self care. Um,
Right.
and um, I don't always do the greatest job taking care of myself. Um,
Well, and it's like
but so,
oh, go ahead. Sorry. It's like
oh, it's just
the shoemaker's kids go shoeless. Like you're making these blankets
right,
and you don't
and not
even,
using it
you
myself,
weren't even using your own, blanket. So,
right? Um, when almost a year later, when I got pregnant, then I started having more issues with anxiety
mhm.
and having a hard time going to sleep. And then I actually did start using a weighted blanket at night, and found it incredibly helpful.
Well,
To,
thank you for sharing about Sawyer. And so, you that taps into so many other, not just kids or adults who are having, chronic illness or chronic pain or autism, but people who are having maybe anxiety or grief issues or so it
or
can
trauma,
trauma. Yeah.
PTSD, like the one a couple of the safety studies that have been done for adults were conducted in mental health units, which, I mean, most of us, there's a lot of stigma attached to mental health, but the whole idea then is that it's like de-stressing. It can be used as like it's self-management in the particular setting.
Mm-hmm.
Patients were able to use a weighted blanket in cases where they would normally have been restrained. Um,
Oh, yeah.
so but they were doing it for themselves, which is just incredible when you think about mental health, and restraint is like traumatic. But to be able to choose, okay, no, this is what I need, and then be able to do that for myself, that's really powerful.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
so yes, the application is really broad.
Wow. What is the most unique, I guess, reason or use that you know of?
Okay, I had somebody who bought a small weighted blanket for their child, and then they sent me a picture. Couple months later, her sister had grabbed it on the way out the door to the hospital when she was giving birth, and she actually used it for pain management in birth.
Really?
I had never heard of
Wow.
anything like that before, but it made
Well,
sense.
that does make sense for pain management. So I wonder if she just like put it on her belly or just, yeah,
I
or
think
on
so.
her,
Yeah.
maybe laid on her back and put it on her back or something like that. That, wow, I'd never heard of that. That's, yeah, it makes sense because you're just, as we're sitting here talking about these blankets, it's funny because I'm imagining my heaviest blanket on me, which is my grandma's, uh, homemade blanket that she, hand sewed years and years ago, and it's really heavy. And it
Right.
does, it has that really fun, good sensation. Just like, I guess maybe not fun, but like it's just a comforting and a security, like
Yes.
security blankets. But yeah, it's
Yes.
like a real comfortable, secure feeling. So I can imagine
Yes.
how those weighted blankets must feel. And you were saying it's like a sense of centeredness and, just
Hmm.
like a peace. So I'm sure
Right.
that they feel all of that with the with those blankets. That's really cool. So
Sure.
you have a business, so you sell on Etsy and you have a website in which you sell your weighted blankets, and people can go on and check out how they work and what they do and who uses them.
Yeah.
And you have different, you customize, so you make different blankets for different
Yes.
people, like whatever they want. If they want something lighter or really, really heavy or
Right.
flannel or.
Or a lot of times they're looking for maybe a particular print or um, a combination of fabrics or something like that. I mean, there's some um, basic combinations that you can choose all on your own. But yeah, if you're looking for something specific, you just ask. We'll
That's
figure
really
it out.
neat. Yeah, yeah. And so tell me, you are a mom, so
Yes.
you have one or two kids. How many kids do you have?
Well, with Sawyer, I have three children.
Okay,
Um,
so three. Yeah.
so I have an almost 5-year old living here and well, he's a 1.5. Um,
Wow.
so,
So
yeah, we
you're
just
busy.
yes, we preschool just ended last week, so we have been in that adjustment period of
Oh, yeah.
aren't you here to entertain me?
Oh no. So your summer has already started. So your end of
It
school
has.
year and summer is started at your house. Oh wow.
Yes.
So how do you juggle like tell me a typical day in the life of Lora. What do you do?
Oh goodness. Well, like I said, summer just started, so typical. It feels very atypical right now. I was telling my husband the other day, it was a lot easier when we had preschool and my baby was taking 2 naps a day because then I had like nap time in the morning during preschool and then nap time in the afternoon when they both had naps. I could like get some things done. Um, right now, I think I have like a um, 2 or 3 hour window in the afternoon where it's pretty much quiet and uninterrupted. But
Wow.
I still do get some work done in the mornings. It's not so bad if I'm sewing. Sewing, I don't have. I can be interrupted with that and still get things done. It's when I go to like write a blog post or
Yeah.
emails or something like that. I'm like, are you kidding me? I'm getting up for the fifth time in 10 minutes to do
Yeah.
what?
Yeah, it's tough.
But
I mean, are you a very scheduled person? So you're kind of scheduled as far as you get all that stuff done, when they're like you said, when they're
I
napping or.
I try to keep to a routine. It helps me. I don't let myself work late into the night unless I've done it once or twice or 3 times, but not on a regular basis.
Mhm.
Like one year Christmas, I was kind of getting behind, and so I know I did. But typically, I do try to keep all my working hours to the middle of the day so that I have evenings and dinner with my family um, and I'm available for those kinds of things. Uh, but that means that I do have to work through. Whoops, my baby's getting into something again. Well, I don't know, get down off of that. Can you
Right.
please don't break the front window with I don't know, something he's pulled out of the kitchen.
Oh
But
gosh, yeah.
um, but but anyway.
So you
So yeah, I try to keep to a routine.
and do you have to so you're mailing out packages too, so you have to factor in you've got to drive to the post office or to UPS,
Well,
or do you have a pickup?
um, I live in a small town where there isn't a specific place you can buy postage for UPS, so I do all that online.
Oh, okay.
Um, of course, with the postal service, you can schedule a pickup online, and with UPS, if I also shop a lot on Amazon. And if
I
they're
love
coming by the
Amazon.
house, they
Hmm.
will take whatever I have to ship out at the same time.
Oh,
Um, if they're not, there's a store right in town. It's like, I don't know, half a mile away. I can drop things off. My husband's office is in town, so a lot of times I'll send stuff with him. Like, here, can you drop this
yeah.
off for me?
Whatever you can do
And
to, yeah, to get it
that's
out the
right.
door. That's great.
During the school year, since it was preschool, I was picking up at 11, and I would usually take a package then, so that I wasn't uh, interrupting my work hours
Yes.
to
I
do those kinds of
I love doing that kind of stuff. Like I do a lot of piggyback, like, okay, so if I'm going to go to this meeting, then I'm going to drop my dry cleaning off or I'm going to do this. And yeah, I love
Oh yeah.
because we have to. Otherwise, there's just too many stops. There's just too many things that we have to do. Yeah. So Laura,
Yes.
what was the best advice, business advice that you ever got about, and now that you're doing your own business?
Um, I would say for business advice, um, it would be a class I took on Creative Live, called "Build a Standout Business" by Tara Gentile.
Oh, I've
Um,
heard of her.
and yes, the main thing that really that keeps coming back to me from that is that you need to figure out what it is that you do differently from others in your same niche, because then that will help you stand out in a crowded marketplace. Um,
Yes, that was great
people,
advice.
yes, it was very good. The whole class was very good. Highly recommend it. I
What
was
was
when I took the class, I was just starting out with my own website, and felt very, very overwhelmed a lot.
I
But that
bet.
helped.
There are just when you're having a website, when you have a website, there are just so many moving parts. And when you add,
Yes.
you've got a business that you have to promote and market on top of doing all the things that you do for your business. Um, I mean, and that's kind of where I was a little while ago, where very overwhelmed, business was exploding and a lot of, kind of putting out fires, taking care of my clients. And then it's
Yes.
like, oh, the website needs this. It's like, you're just like people say, when you're spinning, your dishes, spinning plates. That's what it is. Spinning plates
Oh,
on, yeah.
yes.
Spin this one, and then you got to go over here and finish that, spinning that one. And then by the time you get to the end, you have to go back to the first one and keep spinning. There's just a lot of
Yeah.
things that we have to do as businesswomen to
Yes.
keep everything running. And if we're fortunate, we can at some point hire a virtual assistant, which will help, or some type of assistant that would do a lot of the work for
Right.
us. But when you're first starting out, you don't have the income or you don't have the bandwidth to even tell someone what you want to do because you're just building it. You're just
Yes.
figuring it out. So it's not, you can't even hire someone to tell them what to do because
Because
you're
you don't
not
know what you
sure.
want them to do in the first place.
Right. You're not sure, like,
Yes.
what am I doing here? So once you figure it all out, then you can do,
Yeah.
start delegating and telling, hiring people and
Especially if you have to
outsourcing.
teach somebody what you want them to do. I was talking to I went to a business conference just a couple weeks ago and was talking to somebody. She said, I don't have time to figure out my social media stuff. I hired somebody, and oh my goodness, she was talking about, they were so amazing. I don't remember who it was, but apparently this person just took it over and she just lets them do all of it.
That's
Looks
nice.
over every once in a while, and it's working really well for her. And I think, oh, how nice is that?
Yeah. That sounds
That she
really
didn't have
good.
to learn it or figure it out or teach the other person what she wanted done. They just already knew what to do.
Yeah.
Uh, that's that sounds like a dream.
That does. Yeah. And for small, you'll get there. For small business,
Sure.
owners, it's like it takes a while to, figure out where you want to outsource. What's that
Yes.
one thing that you're like, oh gosh, if I have to do that one more time, I'm going to just die, but then
Right.
there's other things that are even I thought that I would, outsource one thing, and it turns out I really like doing that. So I didn't outsource. So I was like,
Yeah.
I don't mind doing that. It's kind of, it wasn't like I was racking, hitting my head up against the wall, hating to do it. So I just didn't outsource.
Right.
So there are
Yes.
other things that I do that are not so fun for me to do. So I can outsource
Yes. I
those. But
understand.
yeah. So, tell me, what's your do you have a favorite app? Like a business app? Like, because, we're busy moms and we're doing,
I know.
like you're going to the post office and been picking up and, is there an app that on your phone that you just love?
I use a lot of Google Calendar.
Oh,
Um,
really?
and yes, and I use Google Inbox too, which I think probably some people don't like. I used to like sort everything into folders, and with Google Inbox, you just click, okay, I'm done with this, and it goes somewhere I don't know. And you can search
Really?
it and pull it back up, but it doesn't show in the inbox anymore. But one of the things I really love about it is that you can snooze the email and you can look at it and go, I need this like next week, but I don't want it to sit in my inbox for another week.
Mm.
Oh, well, then you just tell it to, snooze it, and it will come right back up. And I love that. And you can attach reminders to the emails, which will also coordinate with Google Calendar, so that, okay, this is what I need to do for this email. I'm not going to do it right now, but later on down the line. And I use that a lot.
And
Reminders and
yeah. And do you have to, it's all stems from your Google email. So you have to have like a Google email
right.
address tagged to
Well,
your
yeah,
calendar and all that.
I have all my email addresses going into Gmail, um, and manage them from there. And so then I can manage them all the same way with the same from my phone or the computer. Um,
That is a great thing. I did not know you could do that. I need to check
yeah.
that out. So all of your emails go. That sounds like like amazing. So it all goes to one
Yeah.
Gmail account. I need to
Yep.
check that out. I need to find out how that works and check into that because that would make my life easier.
Yeah, I know
Um,
some people purposely don't do it that way, and maybe there's a reason for it. I mean, in some ways, it'd be kind of nice to not be logged into my business email in the
mhm.
evenings, but I don't know. So maybe somewhere along the line, I'll figure out why I'm not supposed to do it and change it. But for now, it's working really well for me.
Yeah. So before we get into the fun stuff, because I'm going to ask you like what fun stuff you're enjoying these days, I do want to ask you like what is the heart and soul of your business? I mean, is it like when you think about your business, do you love, what part of it do you absolutely love? Is it the joy that you get from delivering these blankets, hearing stories, like
I do love hearing the stories afterward, um, and um, after several days of being on the computer, it is nice to get off the computer and go make something. I don't, when I think about like the future, long term, I don't necessarily want to be the only one making all the time. At some point, I think I'd like to bring in some other people to help with that because I really like the management aspect of it. Of course, somebody told me, she said, you can't be in business for yourself and not like management.
right.
Okay. But I do. I like, um, I mean, obviously, there's some jobs we all just would really rather pawn off on somebody else. But in terms of like making sure that all the working parts are working and coordinating it all together for a main goal, I like that kind of thing. Um, so
So you like the management. Yeah, that's so true.
I
You
do.
you do have to have that in you to make it work, to have that a thriving business is you have to
Yeah.
have some management skills and be able to delegate at some point and but I get that it is nice to get off the computer and go and do something that's totally opposite of being on the computer, something that's a little
Yes.
bit not so much crafty, but well, yours is crafty, but but more tactile, kind of using
Yeah.
fabrics and all that stuff.
Well,
Yeah.
and then I can turn on a podcast or Netflix and just
Yeah.
there's something else going on. Um, I go back and forth on whether or not sometimes I feel like I should use that time to like listen to business podcasts and stuff like that. And then I think, oh my goodness, I'm always thinking about my business. It's nice to have something
Yeah.
fluffier.
I was just thinking
But
that myself, just like, gosh, Corrine, you're just constantly thinking of ideas and about your business, and it's like, chill. Yeah. And
gotta take some time
I
out.
know, take some time off. And so I do try to do that every now and then, but it's like the wheels are constantly going,
Yeah.
because that's just I think it what's the name of that Tony Robbins book comes to mind, Awaken the Sleeping Giant. I feel like I
Oh.
awaken the sleeping. I feel like, oh my gosh, this is like, amazing at the same time, but great and good. But I'm just like constantly doing stuff to my business, which I love. But
Yeah.
yeah, it is good to take a break and think
Well,
about
that's like one
something
of my
else.
friends said she wants more. She runs a business as well. She wanted more life in her life, not just business. And I think it is important for entrepreneurs, especially, to design their business and plan their business so that they're not just working all the time, but so that you can have space to live the life that you want to live now and not
Yes.
just 20 years from now.
True. Great advice. Oh, great words of wisdom. Very good. Very good. So tell me three things that you're absolutely loving, something that's like rocking your world that you're texting your girlfriends about, or you're like buying a whole bunch on Amazon of, or something.
Oh, well, when I think about like three things that I like to do
Hmm.
with friends, one of them, there's a friend I get together with. We'll make sushi,
Oh,
which
y'all
is kind of
make sushi? You make
time
it.
consuming. Yes, I know it's time consuming, but it's kind of fun. Get together and make a meal with somebody else, and then and it's really yummy.
Okay, tell
Um,
me what kind you like. What kind of sushi? Because I
oh.
just have rediscovered sushi. I tried it years and years ago. I liked it okay. It was fine. At the
Right.
time, I don't think I appreciated it. And now my taste buds have changed and I love it and can't get enough of it. But of course, it's, not something I need to eat every day.
Well, there's a Japanese steakhouse in the area that makes some really, really good sushi. And I haven't had one that I didn't like yet. Sashimi is good, but I'm not as big a fan
Hmm.
of the larger chunks of raw fish. I really do like the sushi. But in terms of what we make, it's pretty much the same thing every time. It's probably more of a California roll, and that's primarily because of what uh, ingredients are
Are
available in my
available.
rural area.
So
Yeah.
do you do shrimp or do you do like
Um, usually,
tuna,
usually crab
crab?
and smoked salmon are the meats we'll
Sounds good.
use, and both of those then are cooked. We're not having to worry about um,
Salmonella or anything or any kind of
right,
bacteria.
right. We don't have any sushi grade raw fish available
Yeah.
anyway, so.
So do you put like slices of like cucumber or
Uh-huh.
carrots?
Cucumber, carrot, and then avocado.
Oh, yum.
Um, sometimes cream cheese.
Oh, that sounds
A little bit of
delicious.
that, and then a lot of times we'll mix the crab in with some of that. Um, in Walmart they call it yum yum sauce. That's what the bottle is in Walmart. Um, the Japanese steakhouse calls it their sexy sauce, but it's still that creamy. Um,
Yes.
I don't know how to describe it other than
They
that. But
call it
anyway,
they call
um,
it sexy sauce. That's
at the
hilarious.
restaurant, yeah.
I never heard that. That's hilarious. Okay, that's what I wanted to find out because like I could just drink that stuff. Like I get
Right.
mine at the
It's better
grocery
than ranch
store.
dressing.
Yeah. Like so it's called yum yum sauce.
Yes.
Okay. so it's that like orangey looking thing. It looks like Thousand Island
Yes.
dressing, but it's like
Yes.
spicy, right? It's
Mhm.
kind of like a spicy. Yeah,
Yes.
that's yeah. I was like, I want some of that. I want a whole bunch of that. And they only the where I order mine from, they just kind of do like a big squirt, on
Right.
top of it. But I'm
Right.
like, oh, I want to dip like the dog out of these
Yes, I
sushis in the
usually
yum yum
ask when
sauce.
I'm eating at the restaurant. I'll usually ask for that on the side instead of soy sauce, because that's what I like to dip my sushi in that.
Yes.
It's delicious.
Okay. That is fun. Okay. I love that y'all make sushi. How fun. Do y'all do that like once a month or
Oh, I'd
just
say a
whenever?
couple times a year. It
Okay.
depends. Um,
That sounds great. What else is are you excited about and interested in?
oh, um, I wrote down breakfast with friends. There's a couple friends I like to get together with breakfast and have breakfast with. Again, it's still usually only a couple times a year by the time we
Yeah.
are all well and home and um, can leave the kids at home with our husbands. But that's fun. The last time we went, I think we arrived at around, I don't know, 9, and I think we were still there at almost lunchtime because we were just hanging out, talking. It was
Nice.
fun.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, good. That sounds fun too. Everything's with friends and yeah, I'm seeing a pattern here.
Yeah. I'm more
Food
of an
and friends.
introvert, but I do really like, yes, food and friends are good.
That's a good combination. Okay, what's your
Yeah.
third thing?
I'm really excited about summer. I don't know, we have a local pool that's going to open in a couple weeks, and um, I made a decision a month ago that I was going to just make it work to take my kids down there during the day as often as we could. Now, fortunately for me, it's like at the end of the block, and we
Yeah,
can
that's
walk
nice.
there. So yeah, swimming lessons and just playing in the water and go hang out with my kids. Um,
Fun.
I know, like, I enjoy my kids. I know when I was talking about working earlier, trying to work when you have people interrupting all the time is really difficult. But when it comes to like hanging out with them, reading books, playing games, we enjoy that kind of stuff. So
That's good.
uh,
Well, what book
I'm
will
gonna
you,
go ahead and make this a summer.
yes, what book will you be reading by the pool this year?
well,
Or not by the
well,
pool, maybe
because
at
my
night.
youngest is a year and a half, I won't be
You
reading
won't
by
be
the side of
reading
the
by the
pool.
pool. No, not yet.
Not
No.
yet. No, a couple more years, and I will. I'll be like, oh yay, see you later.
Yeah. Get them some really
But
good swimming lessons and turn them loose.
that's
No.
right. I just finished the Gifts of Imperfection by Brene Brown,
I love that
and that was
book.
really good. Yeah,
That's a great book. Yeah. One of my
and
favorites.
I'm working on a book called The Body Keeps Score: Brain, Mind, and Body in the Healing of Trauma, by Bessel van der Kolk
Hmm.
or Kolk, Kolk, something like that. Anyway, it's interesting. I've just gotten started in it. He started his research because he was treating vets who were struggling after Vietnam. And so a lot of PTSD research there. Anyway, it looks good. It was recommended by a friend, and I
Yeah.
finally just bought the audio of it. I'm like, sure, give me the audio, then I can just listen to it.
Yeah. That's probably one of my favorite things is listening to books on audio. You can
Yeah.
do Audible or yeah,
Yep.
because you're busy, you're driving in the car, you can always pop that in and listen to
Yes.
it or like you said while you're sewing or doing, housework and whatever we need to
Right.
do. It's always good to be listening to something like a book on tape or something, book, an audio book. Yeah, that's
Right.
awesome. Yeah, I like that. I'm interested in that book, Body Keeps Score.
Yeah.
That's a great title, and it goes with some of the things that you're involved in helping. So
Sure.
that's very interesting. Well, thanks so much for coming on. I really
Yes.
appreciate
Thank you.
hearing your story and finding out like how you do your business, and it's
Mhm.
fascinating, and thank you so much for coming on, and we will be checking you out on Laura's weighted blankets.
All
So
right. Thank you so much.
wasn't she great? I so appreciated her sharing her story about Sawyer with us. And I'm really excited that Lora is offering our listeners 2 great freebies. One is an ebook on the science behind weighted blankets, and the second is a free assessment to find out if Lora's blankets are for you. She wrote this assessment, and she will score these assessments and send it back with her recommendations. So you want to make sure you get in on this. You can find out how to get the free ebook and free assessment on my website at corinesandifer.com under Rising Stories Podcasts. If you enjoy this podcast, please tell your friends about the show. And if you would please take a few minutes to leave me a comment or a review on iTunes or Stitcher, I would really appreciate it. Thanks so much. Keep listening to Rising Stories.